Welcome to another episode of Diary of a Wannabe Comedian with me, Belle, a wannabe comedian. Where should we start? Should we do the politics or should we do the creativity and comedy? Possibly. I'm talking about yesterday where I did my showcase at the Comedy Store. What an amazing stage that is. I could never get bored with being up there. It's just fabulous. And not only that, it was sold out. Well, anybody who knows the venue knows that there's some premier seats at the back, but the way the Comedy Store feeds people in is they block certain bits off with tape and then they just go back and back. They remove this tape and go back and back and back. And it got to the premier seats, which is pretty much a sellout for a Sunday afternoon, 2:00. Amazing. And I was amazed how many people came to see me. So I have some really lovely and sweet friends. And I'm very grateful to you all. It was brilliant to perform for you because some of them have never seen me perform. Now they believe I'm actually a comedian. And I had a great time. I focused very much on the word comic. So yes, I didn't do anything new. I did a new order and I put some emphasis in new places to see if that had an impact. But I very much focused on comic, the funny bones of it and just being daft on stage. And I felt really good and I felt it went well. I did cock up a bit of a joke in the beginning. I put two things around the wrong way. My brain couldn't work out quick enough whether actually it mattered. I don't think it did, really. I think they could have gone in any order, so I could have carried on. But it threw me for a bit, but I was very pleased with the way I pulled it back. And yeah, I had a great time. Everyone did well. Everyone did really well. It's so strange, isn't it? You do this course and you get worried like, oh, have they got any comedy? And then people get up and say their stuff and it's just so funny. Honestly, stand-up comedy is kind of magic. And the reason I know it's magic is because we had to get there at 11 and we all ran through in the order. We ran through doing what we're doing. And I got a few giggles. In fact, actually, all of us were laughing a lot at everyone's set. So it's kind of, we'd already started bringing that funny energy, if you like. And when I performed in the afternoon, two of my comedy mates came up and said, you did new material this afternoon compared to what you did this morning. And no, I didn't. I really didn't. I did exactly what I did in the morning. Apart from I got it right in the morning and didn't quite get it right in the afternoon. And they said, no, you definitely added stuff in I'd not heard before. And you just think, no. I said I did put emphasis in different places. And as I said to you at the beginning, I changed the timing a bit here, there and everywhere and acted up a bit. And it's just magic. Obviously what I did, it's a different environment as well when you're doing the real thing, but what I did just penetrated the brain slightly more than it did in the morning, I think. Either that or they just weren't listening in the morning. And so, yeah, great time had all round. In terms of the politics section of this podcast, I went to see, it was a Free Speech Union event on Saturday and it was at the Emmanuel Centre, which is near the Home Office. And that was about let me think now. Lawrence M. Krauss, who heads up Canada's branch of Free Speech Union, has written a book, The War on Science. And they had a panel interview because the Emmanuel Centre is quite big. I've been there before. I saw Lewis Howes there. I got a hug from Lewis Howes there, which was great. But I've seen quite a few things there, actually. It's a good venue. It really is a great venue. So they had a panel interview and they were all good speakers, but I really enjoyed listening to Amy L. Wax, probably because she's a lawyer. But she teaches, I'm not sure where she teaches. Hang on, I've got the book here, it does say. So she's the professor of law at the University of Pennsylvania, and various other things. Anyway, I found her, it's very clear her politics is very much on the right. But I still found her fascinating. She was just so forthright. And she's actually been suspended, I think is the right word, for a year. I don't know what she said, but she's been suspended for it. And I can't get my head around that in a university. Since when did universities stop encouraging critical thinking and challenging with words. It's just really criminal. But some of it was a real eye-opener. Particularly, there was 2 mathematicians on the panel. And again, politically speaking, one was very much on the left. And I'm not sure, I'm guessing the other one was probably a bit more on the right. But that was great to see, because they are united in the fact that you cannot gag mathematicians. Essentially, there's a movement out there. Movement, is that the right word? I don't know. A program of activity which is trying to, and I'm using air quotes here, decolonize maths. And the stories they were telling, I was like, I don't know, have I just slipped into a parallel universe? Because I can't get my head around any of this. I really can't. Particularly as one guy pointed out, like, actually I'm going to be really ignorant now, but lots of mathematical things, like algebra and the like, they've been, Fibonacci sequence, let's go with that, because that is actually part of my comedy set. I mean, that's Italian, isn't it? Not Italian dressage, as I thought. This is all part of my set now. But maths has been created across the world, and sometimes simultaneously by several people at the same time. Anyway, it blew my mind. What I thought was really brilliant, though, was as soon as I walked in, I saw Samantha Plested. I think that's how you say her name. But I've seen an interview with her I've seen a couple of interviews with her fairly recently. She is a lovely trans lady, but she is very much not on the side of the trans activists. She's very level-headed in that regard as to who she is and what she's about. And I just went up and said, I know you. Actually, well, I don't know you, but I've seen you on YouTube. And she was just the sweetest person. She really was. And that just made the whole night. That was within 5 minutes. And I thought, yeah, tonight's going to be a great night. After the event, I just thought, I'm going to find some interesting people and just talk to them. And I ended up talking to 2 psychiatrists who were interesting, really were fascinating to talk to, especially as one of them works in the prison service, which is just right up my alley. Anyone who knows me knows how I feel about the prison system. It is just, I haven't got all the answers, but the prison system is not a good thing, in my opinion. And it was just great talking to these guys. Unfortunately, they had to go off because they saw someone else they knew. And then I just waited because I thought, no, I'm going to let the next interesting person come over. And unfortunately, it was Pissed Paul. That's the only way I'm going to say it. He was drunk as a skunk and he was a philosopher. And I genuinely didn't know what he was talking about half the time. So I made my polite excuses and left. But it was still interesting talking to him, but I could do without pissed up men. I really can in my life. There you have it. That was my week since we last spoke. I have been to the cinema as well. I went to see The Smashing Machine, which is brilliant. I've really enjoyed it. But, what's not to like about Dwayne Johnson? Much love and gratitude.